All right, all right. What is up, Zinger Nation? We are bringing you a very special show for a couple reasons. For one, it's at a significantly later time than we're used to going, and for two, we've got a very special guest with us. Ruell, it's his first show that he's doing with us on the Benzinga channel. He's got his own channel, which definitely make sure to plug that. But Ruel's a very smart investor. Why don't you give us a little bit of background on yourself and get us rolling?
Man, I've been investing for like 2 years now. I'm an engineer. I'm actually a Detroit native. Went to MSU, go green, go white, and yeah, you're U of M guy.
I'm a U of M guy. Yep.
So when I found out that my money can make money instead of working like two different engineering contract jobs, I'm like, okay, I'm wasting time working two jobs. All I need is one, and to learn how to invest, right?
Yep.
So yeah, and I've been doing that ever since. And I try to stay a little diversified. I do a little crypto as well. And yeah, and when I found that out, I was like, okay, I need to get this out to others because why kill yourself doing other things? So I got my two sisters investing now. I have my mother-in-law investing now. And
Okay.
if I can get my kids off the Roblox, them too.
All right. Well, you have to buy the Roblox IPO. That's
Yeah.
settled officially.
Yeah.
I think that's coming. Do you know when that's coming?
I might as well be getting some of the money back by investing too. So
There you go. Well, okay, wait. All right. I know that we have an agenda and stuff to dig into, but let's break down this Roblox business model for me for a second. So is it the game that costs money, or are there upgrades within the game that they purchase, or where are you spending money?
Upgrades on characters, which like for me back in the day, it's like, okay, Final Fantasy VII, like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. I want to play the game to get to an end. I'm not trying to upgrade my character. I don't get it, but
okay,
that's what they do, and it's a whole experience. I really don't understand it. I don't get it.
All right. Well, if you don't get it, but they love it, then maybe that's a sign of a good IPO to buy into it. And how old are the kids?
Moonlight is soon to be 12, and Barton Issa is 11. So they're like quote unquote Irish twins because they're 363 days apart.
Okay, there you go. All right. Why don't you take? All right, let me ask one more question before we dig into it. We give folks a few more minutes to stream in. But you said you're in the crypto game a little bit. What currencies are you trading or do you own? And are you more of an investor or more of a trader when it comes to crypto?
At this point, more of an investor. I started really looking into crypto like 4 months ago because like I saw all the gains and I realized I was missing out because a lot of that is just really in its infancy. So right now I'm invested in Cardano, which is ADA.
Okay.
And the reason I'm invested in that is because they're supposed to be bringing out smart contracts in like a month.
Okay.
So, excuse me. So that's a real big catalyst coming up. And since I've been invested, it's gone from like 30 cents all the way to like 41 today. It's at a high today of 41 for like, that's a high for the last like at least month, but it's gonna keep going, heading towards that catalyst.
Okay.
And I had a little Bitcoin, but I feel like Ethereum's the better play at this point because it just now reached all-time high, and then all these like swap coins and all this swap stuff and decentralized stuff is being used on Ethereum. So I'm pretty much Ethereum and ADA at the moment.
Right. Yeah.
On my Voyager app. Thank you guys for
that. I trade the crypto stocks. I own a few other crypto stocks. I don't actually own the currency. I'm planning on getting into the crypto bandwagon. It's just such a pain in the ass to buy. Like I wish that my brokerage where I manage my money and trade all my equities and ETFs and that sort of thing would allow me to buy it, but they don't. Maybe I need a new brokerage, or maybe I should just stop being lazy and actually get a crypto account. But I
I
need to get around to it sooner than later.
have three. I have Bitmart, Coinbase, and Voyager. I like Voyager because Voyager's one of the few places you can get Cardano,
Okay.
and Voyager app is really good because it shows like price changes for like a year, a month, 24 hours, and an hour of all the cryptos that it sells, and it sells a pretty good piece of all of them: Bitcoin, Cardano, Ethereum, what have you. So I really like them. Coinbase has just been around forever. So I had that for like 8 years or something like that. And
Yeah.
then Bitmart I got because I was trying to get some obscure crypto. I can't remember what it was called.
Nice. Yeah, I do, for full disclosure, have a Coinbase account. From when was the last crypto rally? Is it 16 or 17 or something like that? I had an account around that time. It's lost. I got to recover it. They make it a pain in the ass to recover. So I do have some Bitcoin somewhere. I just gotta find it. But all right, we're gonna take tonight. We're gonna do some education. Which topic do you want to start with? Take us through it. Guys in the chat, if you have any questions, let me know and I'll grab them. But otherwise, why don't you run with it, and I'll hop in as I think of clarifications we can make.
All right, guys. So I wanted to go over 4 or 5 different topics, and they're just apt because of what's going on with Wall Street bets and Robinhood and what's the short sale place? Melvin.
Yep.
So let me pull it up here. So we'll go over brokers, shorting, short interest slash short squeezing, PDT, swing trading, and common catalysts. So
Okay.
so Benzinga got a really big rush of people that come on a site due to what we streamed, and we were kind of like the lead source of news for what was happening that day. So I'm thinking we're going to probably get a lot of new traders, and they're going to be really confused about these terms, or maybe they want to leave Robinhood and go over to a new broker. So producer Aaron Bry, and we're talking, and we were like, okay, let's see what Benzinga doesn't have on their current platform. And what I saw is there wasn't enough things for like new traders, so I just wanted to feel that interest. But on top of that, I know Raz really just wants to provide whatever he can provide for the people and be there for the people. So if there's anything you guys want to see if there's anything you guys want to see as a retail investor, please let us know. But going into these topics, the brokers I'm most familiar with are Webull and TD Ameritrade. I got Webull for like the affiliate program. They give the affiliate stocks, and whoever the affiliate signs up, they give them free stocks as well. So it's just a really mutually beneficial thing. And they have a nice phone app. And so it's just really easy to just trade them really easily and efficiently on a phone app. And I got TD Ameritrade because I wanted to trade OTC stocks and warrants. Love my warrants.
Yeah.
So brokers I haven't used are like M1 Finance, SoFi, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, E-Trade, and Interactive Brokers. But I hear M1 Finance and Interactive Brokers do fractional shares, and that could be helpful if you don't have enough money to buy like Tesla at 800 or Google at like 2,000 or whatever. You can just, pay $10 and have a piece of Tesla. So,
Yep. And I'll jump in and say I've used a ton of brokerages, from Interactive Brokers, Fidelity, Scott Trade, RIP, shout out Scott Trade, TD Ameritrade, Robinhood, Webull, of course, TradeStation as well on that list, and JP Morgan's U-Invest. So if anybody has questions about those too, feel free to drop them into me. Or if you're looking for an ideal brokerage, tell me what you're looking for, and I can help.
Sweet. And then also shorts. So for me, like I think of shorts like, so a regular stock trade is like making a bet. And I don't like to think of investments like because people get into the gambling. It's not a bet because you have additional information, you have sources, but let's pretend it's a bet. So if you make a bet and you win the bet, you make money. So with the normal stock, we think of that as if the stock goes up, we win. If the stock goes down, we lose. So a short is just betting that the stock goes down. So if the stock goes down, you win. If the stock goes up, you lose. The only big difference there is with the short, you're borrowing the shares from the broker. So you're really kind of just using something you don't necessarily own, and that's how I view it. Anyone have any like questions on that one?
Yeah, and I'll jump in too and explain that mechanism of shorting a little bit. Or were you going to get to short squeezes or no?
Yes.
You were? Okay.
Yep.
So then let me just do the first part then. So basically, when you short a stock, right, you make money when the stock goes down. The way that works, like the mechanism of it works, is you say your broker, lend me, let's say Apple's example, lend me 10 shares of Apple, right? You have 10 shares of Apple. Let me borrow them from you. So and then I sell those shares, right?
Yeah,
So I don't own shares. I sell them. My broker owns them. I owe the broker those 10 shares. I don't owe them any cash or any amount of money. I owe them those 10 shares, right? So the idea is if the stock price falls, right, you get your bet correct. You can then buy back the shares at a lower price and say, here, broker, here are your 10 shares back. And yeah, keep going, Ruell.
Okay, cool. So then you have short interest, and that's basically the percentage of the stock that's shorted. And with a short squeeze, excuse me, you have a raising stock price on a high short interest stock that forces the shorts to buy their shares back. So again, when you borrow the shares from the broker, you're essentially selling, and in order to close that out, you have to buy back again.
Mm-hmm.
Thereby, you squeeze the price up by buying to cover your short, and anyone else who's just regularly buying is also squeezing the price up. And you have a short squeeze, and it pushes the price up. So then, what happened here with the whole Robin Hood thing is that the regular investors were buying, and the shorts had to cover their short, and it just really pushed GameStop to a very, very high level, and no one sold. So made it a very gigantic short squeeze.
Yep.
And then PDT. First, before I describe PDT, I have to describe making a day trade. And a day trade is basically you buy and sell a stock on the same day. So the PDT rule is a rule that was put in place to kind of quote unquote protect traders by saying that traders that have a sum of money under 25K cannot execute 4 or more day trades over the span of 5 business days on a margin account.
Mm-hmm. And what PDT stands for, really quick, is pattern day trader, right? You're basically your brokers calling you out as a day trader. You have less than 25K, you can't do it.
Yep. So it's kind of debatable if that rule is needed now because there's so much information out here. You got wonderful places like Benzinga. You got Benzinga News, and you got Benzinga Pro, where you can go on there and make watch lists, get updates on regular news like very easily. You have YouTubers and Twitch people and Reddit people out here. There's a lot of information out here, so it's debatable if it's needed now. But how most people get around the PDT rule is swing trading, and that's holding a position one or more days. Um, I typically like to swing trade things that are like earnings plays or things like that, and that leads us into common catalysts. Um, Benzinga Pro makes it real easy because you can go and search a stock and you can see its earnings play history. You can also see the date. And when it comes close to the earnings date, it actually just gives you like a little banner across the top. Um, so earnings plays are regular catalysts, and they happen every quarter, which means like every 3 months. Another regular thing is mergers. And mergers tend to happen. That's a really big thing right now with SPACs. SPACs are special interest acquisition companies. And we'll probably go over that in another episode. But long story short, it's kind of like an angel investor company says, I'm going to go out there, find a company and merge with it, and we're going to make money together. But yeah, those are two major catalysts, and the third would be just kind of miscellaneous special events like the election, for example, right? You know,
Brexit. That was my favorite one to trade. Was when Brexit happened. The market was going crazy.
what's that?
It's when England left the EU. That
Oh
that
wow.
that whole week when they were trying to figure out whether or not the vote was going to pass, and then it did, and basically every English stock and the big ones on the U.S. exchange are a lot of the banks, like the English banks, like Lloyd's and that sort of thing, just got
Mhm.
absolutely hammered. I mean, like down like I mean, you've got like multi-billion-dollar banks that are down, 40% overnight.
Oh my
Um,
God.
and so yeah, that was like a crazy like one-off type thing.
Yeah, one big one this year's like or last year was Tesla Battery Day. Everyone was waiting for that catalyst, and you just have to look for special events like that, and of course, natural disasters or worldwide disasters like the coronavirus, stuff like that. And that's pretty much it for this episode. But I'd love to know from the group. I can't see any chat comments or anything like that, but I'd love to know. Maybe I'm on the wrong place for that. Okay, now I can see it. Um, I'd love to know what the group would like to see as far as like topics we could cover or that they want to see.
Yep. And let me say this too, that this is ideally, one of several episodes, where
Mm.
we'll be covering these educational topics regularly. So if there's stuff that you want us to cover or to explain, anything from brokerage selection to, yeah, more of the intricacies of short selling or lending shares out or something along
Yeah.
those lines, let us know. Um, and I'm going to hop in really quick and pick up on something you said. Let me go ahead and share my screen here for a second. There we go. All right, I'm going to add it into the stream. So up on my screen right here, I have an earnings calendar. Right, this is I'm going to go ahead and look at tomorrow. So let's look at tomorrow. And so here are the list of all the companies, all the stocks that have their quarterly earnings report coming out tomorrow. If you guys are trading, whether it's day trading or swing trading or whatever it may be, I highly recommend that you always know when any stock you're looking at is reporting earnings. I've had it happen to me so many times where I'm trying to do some sort of swing trade or day trade, that ends up running overnight, and I get blown out on the position because they had an earnings report, and I didn't know that it was coming.
Oh,
Because
or
when a
even
company
worse,
report, what'd you say?
or even worse, you have the wrong earnings date. Oh my God. I had like Grow Generation at like
Mm-hmm.
$4.
Yep.
And TD Ameritrade gave me the wrong earnings date. I sold it because it wasn't moving, and turns out it was like the next week, and it went to like $17.
Yep.
So with Benzinga, you don't get any of that. It'll say on there, like it says right there with the green check mark, confirmed.
Confirmed. Yep.
So you yeah. So I tend to check like 3 different places just to be sure, but Benzinga, I haven't seen it be wrong yet. TD
Yeah.
Ameritrade, though, frequently.
Well, tell us how I can get this Benzinga data in there.
Yeah, they
Because
need
earnings are a binary event. The stock is either going to go higher or lower, and it's going to go higher or lower more than it typically does, right? So if you're trying to trade a 5% swing or something like that, you have an earnings report, it's going to end up being a 15% swing, so something along those lines. So always know when those earnings dates are coming out.
Also, Ken, I'm going to share a screen right quick. Let me see.
And you said you're pulling something up as well?
Yep.
Awesome.
Can you guys see my screen?
Let's see. There we go. Now we can see it.
Okay. One of the things I like to do, and this is just like a big, like what I like about Benzinga Pro is I love the workspaces, and I like to make different workspaces based off the like different sectors that I'm watching. And I don't know if this is something you guys would like, but when I trade, I typically point out the hot sectors, and I'll get like a list of like 10 sectors and kind of just monitor those sectors because we never know what type of stocks are going to be hot when. But if we know the sectors and we see a stock that's rising on that time, then we can be better in a better position to take action, right? So I set up my Benzinga Pro like this, where I can kind of just monitor different sectors. Like here's SPACs, EV plays, then I have ARC plays here, crypto, clean energy, like that. And it's really cool because you can go over here and look at the top gainers for the day. And you can be like, okay, oh, look, there's a mining stock. Mining's hot right now. Maybe that's something I want to monitor and possibly get into. And you kind of just take it from there. I could go more in depth on that if that's something you guys would want, but I have a whole like notebook full of topics that I could possibly discuss. But really, I want to make the show about you guys and have you guys tell me what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Drop in the questions. I mean, we're here to take them. And Ruell, while we wait to see if some questions flow in, you had a third topic for us too, I think.
Okay, let me see.
Or we might have hammered through them. All right, you had brokers.
We got through them. I hammered through them pretty quickly.
All right, you're fast, man. That was a very, very fast hammering through 3 topics. I'll throw out one more catalyst for people to check out or at least be aware of, which are any sort of FDA or drug trial dates, right? That they're basically there's a ton of publicly traded pharmaceutical companies, right? And the performance of the stock price is highly dependent on whether or not the drugs that they are developing are making it through clinical trials, especially some of these small market capitalization biotech stocks, right? I personally don't, and I recommend against people trying to invest in small biotech stocks, right? Companies that are pre-revenue, where they might have one drug on the market and they need to develop a whole pipeline in order for the company to become a big stock. Just because you're betting on binary events, and I feel like as an investor, you really have no competitive advantage, right? How do you know if their diabetes drug is going to work in the clinical trials and then get approved by the FDA for sale? You don't. I mean, unless you're a doctor or you're somehow in the space and have some sort of information advantage like that. I think that those ones are so tough. They're the way to be aware as to whether or not your company is sort of hinging on getting 1 or 2 drugs through trial or something along those lines. I'll give a couple of quick tips. One, look at the income statement. If the revenue is really small, right, like I'm talking under $10 million a year or something along those lines, it's probably because the company is waiting on some sort of binary event, and that's why the stock exists, is on the optimism that the drug will get approved. Another one is you can look at their press releases, right? This is getting a little bit more advanced, but you can go to the company's investor relations website. You can look at the press releases that they're putting out and get a sense as to whether or not the future of the company depends on, hey, we've got this drug in development. We want to get it approved and get it through trial. A third one that I'll throw out is if you Google FDA calendar, Benzinga's working on one. We're going to have our own FDA calendar up hopefully within the next 2 weeks. That's my hope. Come on, data team, let's get that up. But once we have that FDA calendar, you guys will be able to check out and see, okay, here are all the upcoming, trial dates, data dates, FDA decision dates, etc. But again, these are all binary events. The stock is either going to go way up or way down, depending on how that trial goes. I'm more of a risk adverse type investor. And so I don't like betting on these binary events because, again, I don't really feel like I have any sort of competitive advantage there.
Yeah, I'm kind of in your camp with that, Luke. The only time that gets a little where I'm on the other side of the camp is like with Rona, and so many companies were trying to come out with a Rona vaccine, and I kind of stayed away from it a little bit. But in hindsight, it's always good to look back, right? I wish I just picked 5 or 6 of them and just put some money in the vaccine people stocks. Yeah. But that goes into, again, right, with the sector thing, like knowing the hot sectors. If you know that vaccines and stuff are hot sectors, then okay, then yeah, go ahead and do that. And yeah, but that's a select circumstance. I still kind of side with you on that. But with the vaccine, the government was kind of backing a lot of things and giving them money. So with that, it made it just a little bit different.
Yep, absolutely. The way that I played the vaccine stocks, it was a little bit different, and I sort of strayed off of my course of staying away from these names and never getting into them. But the way that I played them was I bought Moderna. I had a hell of a ride on it. I mean, I did about 150% on that stock within a couple months. And the reason why I picked that one is because they were getting government contract over government contract. This was before their vaccine was proven, right? It was while the trials were still ongoing. But you were getting these massive government orders, from the UK, from Switzerland, from Sweden, from Canada, from the US. And basically my thinking was, the governments that are buying 100 million doses of this thing, granted the purchases were dependent on the drug getting approved. But basically my thinking was that the governments are doing a ton of due diligence. The company wouldn't be spending all these sales resources and marketing resources to be getting these contracts if things weren't going well, right? So it was definitely a risk that I took that, hey, maybe this shit's not going to go well, and the trial is going to get screwed up. But basically that was my thinking behind it. It ended up working out. And again, I at least had some sort of thesis rather than sort of a hope and a prayer.
Exactly. Stick to the plan and at first have a plan, I got you. Yep. Yeah, totally agreed on that one.
Exactly. But all right, man. Do you have any other topics you want to talk about? The chat is quiet tonight.
Only thing, you guys can follow me at if you go to Twitter and just put in my name, Ruell Black, or if you go to YouTube and put in my name or Black Ru Investing, you'll see my weekly stock videos. I basically give out just weekly stocks to watch, and I may do like one other video during the week on something that I'm looking at or a sector that I'm looking at. Yeah, so really appreciate it. If you guys can give me a follow, a like, and
I dropped the Twitter handle in the chat, and I guess, all right, I'll stop you. One more thing before you close us out. Give us a stock pitch. Do you have any names that you like or you're looking at right now?
I'm still on NAT, N-A-T, and it had a nice little day today. Mining stocks are kind of becoming a sector that's really looked at, especially with this whole silver thing. But like I was saying before, it's really a sneaky EV play
For which
because
one? Wait, give me the ticker one more time.
NAK. I think it's
NAK, November Alpha Kilo. All right. I just dropped that in the chat.
okay. And yeah, it's just I think it's the one that's displayed right now actually. Let me so it's a sneaky EV play, and this is the one I discussed on the show, Luke. So they went up to like $2 and they lost some permit. And then here recently, around like the end of December, beginning of January, um, the governor of Alaska, their parent company, and Northern Dynasty themselves filed appeals to get the Army to actually get them that permit. So once they get that permit, I think it's just gonna just skyrocket back to where it was, which was $2. But even if I can just get a retracement back to like 111, that'd be like a double up for me. And if you look at other minor companies like MP Materials, if it can do something like MP Materials where it's like a $30 stock, I mean, I think that's a lot of value there. And
Okay.
one other one is this is a 5G play, Ribbon Communications.
All right, I don't know that one.
It's just
Oh, give me the ticker.
it's RBBN.
Okay, RBBM, Romeo Bravo Bravo November. All right. And what's the thesis on this one?
It's just a 5G play, and I was monitoring it for a while when it was around $5. And I just like how the earnings look. If you look at their earnings,
Mm-hmm.
like every year they've kind of just steadily increased earnings. And even in like the Rona times, they did pretty well. So they have earnings coming up here on the 17th.
Okay.
So I'm looking to kind of play their earnings, and they're already kind of trending here the last 5 days. So yeah, I just really like their earnings, and I think as a 5G play, they're a really sneaky play, and they just I think they've just been given coverage by a couple analysts, and they also raised their fourth quarter expectations. There we go. They
Okay.
raised guidance on the 25th here, so that's another little sneaker for me.
All right, I like that one. And we got John in the chat saying PFE earnings are coming out tomorrow pre-market. I believe Google is tomorrow after hours. But I feel like in this week of craziness, we've all sort of forgotten about earnings, or at least
Right.
I have. Right? Like Apple reported last week. I'm long Apple. I didn't even give a shit. I'm just watching all the wild stuff. So
Yeah, today the only thing I watched was like short interest stocks and Chimoff stocks. I thought people were gonna like kind of flood into Chimoff stocks to kind of just support him and how he's been
okay, that's
supporting.
a good call. I like that. I didn't think of that one.
So like he also posted something on Twitter about like if you're sick of Robinhood, come over to SoFi.
Okay.
So I was really looking at IPOE
Yep.
because that's the SPAC that SoFi is going into. So I still think IPOE might get a little pop because if they have some type of stats where they can say, okay, this many people came in from, we got 10,000 new subscriptions, then it's gonna just pop up. So keep IPOE on a lookout.
There you go. And I do have a few of those Chamath SPAC warrants.
Yeah, me too. I have a good amount of those warrants too. I love his warrants. I love his SPACs. All of them have made money, like literally all of them.
Yep. Cool. All right, man. I think that this takes us to through the first episode.
All right, awesome. We got to do this again, Luke.
All right, guys. Again, we're trying to get more education going on this channel. We spend a lot of time talking about stock picks. We spend a lot of time talking about trading. We do have a dearth of information on education. That's where Ruell came in and called us out and said, guys, let's get some education going. So I'm glad he was the spark to ignite it and then here to take us through it. So if you guys have any topics you want us to cover, I'm going to give you an email address. It's powerhour@benzinga.com. I'm dropping that in the chat there. Go ahead, shoot us an email, say, hey, can you guys cover this? Go over this. We'll do it. We're down. We're all about the community. I'm also going to drop my Twitter link and Ruell's in the chat. Follow us. We're always throwing out trade ideas, market ideas. I don't know. I guess it's just a fun little late night impromptu education session.
There we go.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for joining me. And the Zinger Nation out there, that's all of you in the chat. Peace out. I salute you. Happy trading tomorrow.